Hello and welcome to tonight's video. We're going to cover 3 champions and how they may affect Worlds. These are the 3 champions determined by the Discord as being the ones that they believe will define Worlds 2024. If you join my Discord and you participate in polls and things like that, you'll have a good time. So here we have Skarner, Syndra, Yone, and you'll notice there aren't a ton of players on the board, right? Prerequisite for Skarner, you had to have at least 5 games played over your entire career at any level based on Game of Legends, so gol.gg. Syndra, 10 games, and Yone, 10 games. Otherwise, no, Yone, 5 games. Sorry. Otherwise, the players not listed here are the ones that don't play these champions over their career. Literally, a handful of times in the case of Syndra, 2 handfuls. And that's the thing. So on the Discord, I'd mentioned that I'd realized something doing this research that put me in a position. So, and we'll talk about it in a second. But Skarner, yes, it's just been reworked, and many people might say, yeah, but, not many people have played it since the rework, this, that, and the third. True, the champion is a bit different than it was, right? But over their entire careers, only 7 junglers at this event actually have played Skarner more than 5 times. And I'm really putting it into the jungle category. I really doubt we're seeing top Skarner. So, got gen.g. And keep in mind, this does include Worlds this year. It includes Tier 2 play. It includes Academy play and everything. Which is like a wide net for these guys. gen.g, 82% win rate, 9-2 over his career on the champion. Canyon, 4-2. Tarzan, 4-2. Razork, 5-4. Peanut with the most games played on Skarner at this event with 21 games, going 11-10 over his career. Inspired, 3-5. And then Umpty actually is tied with Peanut. 21 games played as well, but went 7-14 over his career on the champion. So, not many people play Skarner. And for a champion that's going to be heavily banned and things like that, one could argue, why not force the hand of the opponent that really doesn't play Skarner in an early part of the series, maybe game 1, and you say, hey, are you going to play it or not? Is it so OP that somebody can just pretty much first time it on stage at Worlds in a big moment and win? It is something to think about. Syndra, strong champion, but there are a couple interesting names on here with not a lot of games played. So Faker actually is the best KDA on Syndra, win rate on Syndra at this event. He's 8-2. He has literally 10 games played on Syndra over his entire career. I'm sure a lot of people are surprised by that. Knight, 41-11. A very dominant Syndra. Second strongest win rate at 79%, and you might as well say has the best Syndra at the tournament. Caps, 34-14 over his career, 71%. So he will be strong as well, which is why when I had the Pain Gaming fans talk about G2 and things like that, Jinkito's got his work cut out for him against Caps if Caps wants to play Syndra. Showmaker. Many people speak highly of his. He's 39-19 over his career on the champion, which might... no, it's not the most played. Xiaohu has more. Xiaohu, 42-25 on Syndra. So his Syndra, not too bad either. 3 out of every 5. I mean, those sort of win rates are pretty good. Maple of PSG, 21-15. And then we have 2 guys in the middle of the road, Humanoid and APA, both with 50% win rates. However, Humanoid has played many more games in his career, going 16-16, APA 5-5. And then on the opposite side of the spectrum, we have Quad, who went 8-11 on the champion, Frescawi, 9-13, and then Jinkito, 4-14 over his career on Syndra, 22% win rate. That is definitely not his champion. I'd argue it's not really Fress's champion either, or Quad, but that's when you say, okay, I'm not banning it against you. I'm not too worried about you playing it. Kind of force their hand, say, hey, you're going to have to ban it yourself because you can't play it. But notice there's a name not on here. Chovy. Chovy only has 2 Syndra games over his entire career, and both are losses at any level of play in the Game of Legend database. So, as somebody that was very hard on Knight and about his Azir play going into Last Worlds and how that would be something that needed to be turned around, and it was turned around before the event, but then at the event with JDG, it was. I think that has something to do with their issues, but neither here nor there. I was very critical of that. I believe that, when you have a champion like Azir is obviously even more meta than Syndra is. Azir transcends meta more often than not. But Syndra, when it's meta, you got to be able to play the damn champion. If it's this strong, you got to be able to play the champion. You cannot just say, hey, especially like even these guys saying it's not great. But when you're gen.g and you're going into a game against a series against BLG, now you're in a position where, does that mean Chovy Syndra is bad? But not necessarily, but we've never seen it good on stage. You're in a position where, hey, are we banning Syndra on blue side because we can't first pick it? You'd say, oh, well, look at all his champions as counters. That's nice and all, but you still also have to play the damn champion. It really comes down to, if you're going to be the best player in the world, you have to be able to play the meta champs. You can get frisky and play some weird shit, sure, but if you can't play the core champions when push comes to shove, how can you truly be the best player in the world? And I understand there are 170 champions. That's the truth, of course. Pretty much. I don't know where we're at, but you get what I'm trying to say here. You got to be able to do it. And because we've known that Syndra was going to be meta at this event for quite a while, I've seen people in my comment section mention it being a possibility. Chovy should have been spamming Syndra in Korean solo queue before he even came over to Europe. Like, there'd be no excuse. You got to be able to play that champion. And maybe he did. I didn't check his solo queue. But his name is not on here, right? Zeka's name, not on here either. So, you've got 2 Korean mids that are not a big Syndra enjoyer. Scout, not a big Syndra enjoyer either. Cream, he hasn't played as long, and Cream hasn't played as long as the other guys, but still, not a big Syndra player. So, those guys better have practiced Syndra if they want to, these teams are the teams that we're thinking are going to quarters, going to semis, and competing for this tournament and the World Championship. So we've known that this is going to be a meta pick, so you need to be able to play it. Now, Yone, a mix here, right? We got some top laners and some mid laners because it does transcend the lane. The best win rate actually is owned by Zeus. No big shock, but 88% win rate. He's 14-2 on Yone over his career. Emo has an 86% win rate on Yone. He's 6-1. He does meet the 5-game threshold. You may say, really, only 5 games? Look at this board here. We have 32 players that could possibly play Yone within reason. Top, solo laners. And what? There's 3, 6, 9, a dozen players that have played 5. Yeah, a dozen players have played 5 games on the champion. This whole notion, Yone is going to be a super strong pick, this and that. Same deal with Syndra, but Yone's not, as old of a champion as Syndra, so there's a little bit more leeway there. You've had how many years to play it, but still, hey, force the issue. Make them play it. See if that opponent can actually play the champion. Call their bluff. In game 1, just like I said with Skarner or whatever, you say, hey, I'm going to leave that up on red side. You can pick it on blue if you want. Honestly, I haven't seen him play it. Maybe he sucks at it. Maybe he can't do it. And hell, maybe it's a game-breaking pick for him anyways. But I think that it's something that, honestly, at this tournament, I think that that's worthwhile in game 1 on red side. So, Chovy, very strong Yone. Surprisingly strong at 23-4 over his career. 85% win rate. And I believe one of those games was even in top lane. So that pick is very strong for him. He does not have to worry about the Syndra necessarily because Yone is so strong. Of course, he does. Like I said, it's a pick that needs to be played. But the Yone is more than capable of being first picked if he finds a moment. Broken Blade in top lane, strong win rate on Yone, 9-2, 82%. Knight, 11-3, same win rate as what he has on Syndra. So his Syndra and Yone win rates combined are 79%, and he's 52-14 on those two champions, which is pretty disgusting. Showmaker, also 67% win rate on Yone. He's 4-2 in his career on the champion. Faker, same. Zeka, 66% win rate. We think of Zeka, we think of, Yone and Akali, and etc., and Silas, and whatever else, melee mid you can think of. 23-12, 66%. Cream. Now, Cream played with OMG for a while, and OMG stink. But 64% win rate, 14-8. That's a pick that you should watch out for top esports. Scout, 54%, 7-6. And then we have Xiaohu and Frescowy, two players that are not great Yone players in, let's put it this way, their win rates aren't great, right? We got to keep in mind, and maybe I should have said this in the beginning, but people that skip around my content and lose the context, that's on them, not on me. Win rate is a team stat. 100%. I always reference it when people bring up win rate. So, when the sample is large enough, we can make some inferences and say, you know what, I think Knight Syndra is probably pretty good. He's played 52 games on it. I mean, the trend here over those 52 games is Knight on Syndra, right? It's not. Now, we could be digging at the bottom of the barrel here and say, Frescowy's played 7 games on it. He's 2-5, but maybe in a couple of those losses, it wasn't his fault. The Yone wasn't the problem. I could see that argument and say, you know what, that's valid. The sample isn't very large. But like I said, I'm digging to the bottom here for the sake of, making it so there's not like 3 names on here. But because it's a team stat, you also have to think about, in the case of Zeus, for example, he's only played on T1 over his career. He's 14-2. So not only maybe his Yone is good, but the team knows how to play around Zeus's Yone. They know how to win with it. A player can be great on a champion. Cream, a very good Yone player. Very good, melee mid player. But on OMG, he has an inting top lane, an inting jungler, or whatever in the bot lane, and what's he going to do, right? So there's that. We have to look at it in that way from both sides. But I think it's also what was more telling about this, if you paid attention, was just how little these players that aren't on the board played these champions. And going into this event, we think, that player's probably really good at Syndra or Yone or Skarner. Historically, they don't play it. Maybe they are 3-0 on their career on the damn champion. It's possible. I'm not saying it's not, but it's only 3 games. I'm not going to hitch my wagon to a 3-game sample. So, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and hope to see you again tomorrow.